Hi there and welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to talk about something highly unusual. It's actually good news for people in Portugal who are submitting either residence permit applications or citizenship applications. Let's start with residence permits first of all. Now these are under the umbrella of an agency called AIMA, the precursor of which was CEF. And AIMA means the Agency for Immigration, Migration and Asylum. Now this is an agency which has been dogged by delays and criticism basically since its inception, since it took over from CEF, which itself was criticised for basically exactly the same things. So it came as a little bit of a surprise to me when I saw today that IMA have actually done something, or at least are well on the way to doing something which is going to positively impact all of the delays that people encounter whenever they deal with the agency, and just the time taken to obtain things like residence permits in Portugal is quite atrocious. So anything that can be done to bring that down is obviously a very, very welcome thing. Anyone who's ever interacted with this agency over the last, I don't know, 4 or 5 years will know that it's just terrible. I mean, you can never get through on the telephone. You can email them, but that usually doesn't do anything. If you turn up in an IMA office, then you're unlikely to be able to accomplish anything there. And the only mechanism that you're pointed to is to just call, just call them. And of course, calling them is an impossible exercise. You can literally spend all day placing hundreds or even over 1,000 calls per day and get absolutely nowhere. I have been in that position myself, and it's not great, let's just say that. So IMA is not an organisation which, I have a special place in my heart for, absolutely not. But I do want them to succeed in their mission. I think all foreigners who reside in Portugal, or people who plan to live in Portugal as a foreigner, should want IMA to make things better and to get their act together. And happily, I came across this item of news on the Portugal News website earlier today, which says that IMA have got together with the Bar Association and the Solicitors and Enforcement Agents Association. And 3,342 lawyers, trainee lawyers, enforcement agents and solicitors have registered with IMA to assist them in clearing the enormous backlog of residence applications that exist. At the end of 2023, there were over 400,000 pending applications in the IMA system. Many of these were from the old manifestation of interest system, which has since been nixed. But they all have to be gone through, they all have to be processed, and basically everything's in the same box. It doesn't matter whether you're going through family reunification or different kinds of visas. Everything is subject to delays at the moment when it comes to residence permits. So the plan here is that these professional organisations, these lawyers, are registering with IMA, and IMA is going to distribute to them a certain number of cases, up to 200 cases each. And these people are going to work remotely and help to solve the backlog. Now, certainly if there are over 3,000 lawyers and they're each going to get 200 cases potentially, then yeah, this could easily make a huge impact in the backlog that IMA has. And I really urge them to get on with it as quickly as possible, because it's been a long time coming. In this case, I really don't think that the lawyers are in it for the money, because they're only going to be paid a minimum of 150 euros up to a maximum of 1,400 euros per month, which, let's face it, isn't a very impressive salary for someone who went to law school. As I mentioned earlier, a maximum of 200 cases and €7.50 per case. Now, I don't exactly know how many documents are involved in each of the different kinds of processes, but some of them definitely have quite a few, and €7.50 does seem a bit on the low side. So I really do think that these professional organisations are doing something good here. And if you listen to what they say anyway, they're trying to step in to alleviate the burden of the state and to try to eliminate the problems that have been carried over from the ending of the CEF regime. In case anyone is wondering, there are provisions in the regulations of IMA to guard against conflicts of interest within the law firms or even their family members and things like that. Because obviously many lawyers are immigration lawyers and they might have clients be actively working on cases about this, and there could easily be conflicts of interest that arise. So it's good to see that IMA has taken steps to try to prevent anything like that from occurring, because Portugal is a country where, corruption is not unknown, so it's always good to guard against it. Overall though, the proof of the pudding will be in the eating. The applications have been received and they've now been closed on October the 1st. We need to wait for IMA to actually process these applications and to get on board all of these lawyers and to actually get on with the process. I guess that's going to take them another 3 to 6 months. They're not exactly the speediest. But once it gets going, I think that this measure really has the potential to be transformative in terms of the kind of delays that people are facing for either renewing or for getting new residence permits in Portugal. And I'm quite pleased to see it as a development. The second piece of good news involves citizenship applications and comes from the IRM, which is the Institute of Registries and Notaries in Portugal. Now, this is the organisation which is in charge of assessing citizenship applications. As viewers may know, after 5 years of legal residence in the country, if you can show sufficient ties to Portugal, which is relatively easy, and if you can pass a language exam, either the CIPL exam or if you could take a course with at least 150 hours at the A2 level in a variety of authorised institutions and get that certificate. If you can pass the language requirement basically, then people can apply for citizenship here. It's quite an involved process. You have to obviously give a lot of records like your birth certificates, all translated into Portuguese, possibly marriage certificates as well, criminal record checks. If you've lived in several countries, that could be quite complicated to get and translate. It's a very involved process and there are quite a lot of documents involved. Anyway, let's just say that. Anyway, the number of citizenship applications in Portugal has been surging dramatically over recent years and reached an all-time high of 230,000 applications in 2022. This has led to an immense backlog. My neighbours are currently going through the process of obtaining their Portuguese citizenships, and they've been told that they may have to wait 2 or maybe even 3 years by the lawyer who helped them with the process. Now, that person might be talking down expectations, but there's still massive delays. In the past, it was a much quicker process and would be comfortably done in 6 months to a year. However, with the level of applications so high, it's very difficult to do this because the Portuguese government isn't famous for allocating more resources to services when they're required. It just really isn't. So what the IRN has done is they've created an online platform which is going to completely automate and digitize the process. So the aim here is to take away all the paperwork involved in documents. Historically, officials would need to shuffle documents between different offices and different personnel, and they'd all need to see the documents and be able to sign off on it and things like that. But now they're aiming to digitize everything, and this will just give all staff access to the documents basically on screen on a database, and they're using AI to help to streamline the process. It's estimated by the IRN that this digitization process will speed up applications by around 50%. I saw another remark made by another official saying that previously it had taken about 2 hours of employee time to go through all of the documents, but now it's going to be down to around 30 minutes. So potentially you could see an even greater reduction than 50%. I don't know, but it does seem that things are going to be speeding up, which is obviously welcome. This initiative will be live in all of the IRN offices that deal with citizenship applications by November 4th, 2024. So it's coming within the next month, which is really good. A final piece of good news is that the IRN are also creating an online system whereby applicants for citizenship can access the system and go online and check the status of the application at any time, which I think will help to put a lot of people's minds at ease. And it's just really great when you have some kind of serious application like this going on and you can just go online and check it. It's just wonderful. With IMA or something for residence permits, it doesn't exist. It's just a mystery. It's a black box. So it's great to have more openness and transparency. I really, really welcome it. So, two pieces of good news in the sphere of immigration. It's not often that you hear good news and immigration in Portugal used in the same sentence, and certainly not when it's in reference to IMA. But yeah, I feel very happy and gratified to learn of this. I think that it will benefit a great number of foreigners who are already in Portugal and who are planning to come to Portugal. And I hope that the agencies involved, both IMA and IRN, continue down this path to try to accelerate the process. Because the delays that we've witnessed over the last few years really have not been a source of national pride for Portugal, and I think it's something that urgently does need to be rectified. Alright, well that'll do it for this video. I hope people found the content useful, and I'll see you soon in the next one.